Hello, scumbags. This is Andrew Fantasia from Rebel Scum Podcast, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about, some Star Wars, come to think of it. Today's topic is going to be really quick, and it's not really a theory or anything. This is more some food for thought regarding some upcoming stories that we might get. Now, in the past, in the Star Wars movies we've received, there has always been this recurring theme of two factions fighting against each other. In the prequels, it was the Republic versus the Separatists. In the original trilogy, it was the Rebels versus the Empire. In the new movie, Episode 7, it was the Resistance versus the First Order. And all throughout, there was this whole thing of the Jedi versus the Sith. It's always been one group against another group, clashing head-to-head in some ultimate laser-filled WrestleMania pay-per-view event. But today, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I think that that's one of the things about Star Wars that is about to start changing. Yes, I think going forward, maybe not in Episode 8, maybe not in Rogue One, but in the near future, we will start to see Star Wars movies that are about more than one faction, 3 or more different groups fighting over something. And the reason that I bring this up is because there's a little scene that keeps drawing me in, and it's not a scene from a movie, it's actually a scene from the Chuck Wendig novel Aftermath that came out a little over a year ago. If you remember my review of Aftermath, I mentioned that there were some, in between the actual story, there were little chapters, side chapters that were just sort of tiny vignettes about stuff going on across the galaxy and how everybody was handling the fall of the Emperor and so on and so forth. And in one of these little vignette chapters, probably my favorite one of the book, there was this great moment where we saw what looked like the beginnings of a drug deal. It was on this weird, shadowy city planet, and there were these criminals in this abandoned tenement, and they were having a meeting with a bunch of dark-robed acolytes. And the acolytes wanted to buy something off the criminals. And the criminal leader presented them with what he claimed was Darth Vader's lightsaber. The acolytes were over the moon. They paid top dollar for the lightsaber, and they walked away with it. It was a very quick scene, and the scene ended with the criminals, who were now alone again, talking amongst themselves. And one of the members of the gang asked his leader, he said, "Boss, was that really Darth Vader's lightsaber?" And the leader just kind of shrugged his shoulders and said, "Who knows, but it was red, so what's the difference?" And the scene just ended there. It was I think it was only like a 3-page scene, very quick. These vignettes were short and sweet. And the reason I bring this up, in accordance to my whole spiel earlier, was that these dark side acolytes who bought Vader's lightsaber, we never really learn why they want it. Maybe they have some kind of sinister plans to try and resurrect him or something. Maybe they work with cloners. Maybe they're just hardcore fanboys like me and they want to collect as much as possible, and their local Toys R Us didn't have Vader's lightsaber, so they went right to the source. Who knows? The thing about them that interested me was the fact that they were dark side acolytes, but they were not Sith. And that's something that a lot of people have noticed about the villains of The Force Awakens, namely Kylo Ren and Supreme Leader Snoke. Ren and Snoke seem to be very powerful dark side users. They use the Kylo Ren anyway, Snoke was still up in the air, but they are very in tune with the dark side of the Force. However, it's never really specified that they're Sith. The word Sith doesn't get dropped by them. So, that is what has me thinking that we might start to see the rumblings of a much bigger galaxy-spanning confrontation where it's not just two entities fighting over a scrap of planet. It's something much bigger. It's a lot of folks with a lot of different agendas. Going back to what Brock and James have said on the podcast many times, there's now different branches of the Force that we see. Besides Jedi and Sith, there's the Church of the Force. There could be a Church of the Dark Side. There's the Knights of Ren, who we're not 100% sure about yet. So that's why I bring this up today, is just a little food for thought that maybe these dark side acolytes are the harbinger of something bigger. Maybe they're heralding a new kind of Star Wars galaxy where different people with different motivations are going to come out of the woodwork and make things a whole lot more interesting than just one versus one. I don't know. What do you think, scumbags? Do you think this is insane? Do you think you like it better when it's just one party versus one party? Or are you open to the idea of seeing the floodgates open? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Rebel Scum Podcast. Sayonara.
Hey scumbags, thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.